Hey, what's happening, guys? Hope everyone's having a great day. I apologize for not being on the live stream this morning. Again, like I said, my Wi-Fi was all whacked up, but I hope you guys had a great session. We had a lot of fundamentals that came out today, a lot of moves that happened. So let's break them down. Let's break down the fundamentals from yesterday and then what we have coming out for tomorrow. We get a lot of stuff coming out tomorrow too. So for GBP, we had CPI coming out. We got better than expected, right? Core CPI, same exact thing. A lot of good numbers coming out of Great Britain. So sorry about that. Moving into the New York session over here, we had Empire State Manufacturing Index coming out much better than expected, and that sent gold into a little bit of a frenzy. So we did have industrial production worse than expected. Crude oil inventory is much better than expected. But when it comes to tomorrow we have unemployment and Philly manufacturing coming out. They are expecting better core retail sales and regular retail sales coming out tomorrow. And also, actually, we got some worse than expected Philly manufacturing index. And they are looking at worse than expected unemployment as well. So we'll see what we have. Obviously, NFP this past month for last month was way off, about 500,000 off. So expect something bad coming out when it comes to the unemployment. I would expect, but let's take a look at the charts and see what we had today. So GJ obviously still respecting that bearish move that we had from I believe that was yesterday, where we had price coming all the way up, creating a top wick, passing the high of that wick right over there, and then flipping bearish, coming all the way down and passing the low of that candle. So looking at the weekly right now, you do have kind of a clean move over here to the left. You have a resistance right here. Could price be coming right back down into this 149,300 level? Very well could. But let's see what we have in the daily and see some of these pit stops that we normally have. So we have our strong resistance right over here. I'm sure we're going to end up adjusting that because of the wicks when it comes to the lower time frames. But over here, our recent daily candle from yesterday, extremely bearish, right? This candle ended up passing the low of that candle, but closing a very weak bullish bearish candle over here. So could we be continuing down to fill that wick and come down into this area over here? Right, very critical area down here, 150, 500. Or could we be kind of exhausting the bearish move, coming up a little bit into this area, kind of consolidating? If you take a look, something like this, kind of consolidating in here, and then we end up dropping, right? Could get something like that, but let's see what we have in the lower time frames over here. That's the daily. Right now, we are kind of consolidating. After making this move down, we ended up breaking the low of this support and rejecting it over here multiple times as well and kind of staying in this range. So let's see where our range is and where we could end up taking a trade once we break out of something like this, right? So looking at the 1 hour, we're kind of stuck in here. We don't want to take anything in there. Just very messy, big wicks, big candles, price kind of all over the place. But once we break resistance right over here, get a clean range right over here, coming right back up into 152, 200. Got about 69 pips, 70 pips. We'll keep it at 69. But we are in this range. We want to stay out of it. But once we break this support over here, you have about 50 pips coming all the way back down to 150, 500, this previous area right over here, right? So once we break this area, we can actually extend this zone left. So once we break this area over here, we have kind of a clean move where we could come down. And especially if we break a consolidation like this over here, I would expect more of a bigger move, right? So taking a look over here, actually, you know what? If we bring this down here, we got more like 35. Yeah, about 35 pips over here. That might be a little bit better because you do have this clean move over here to the left. So you get that clean move. But I do think if we break this level right over here, we might be able to get a move over here. But you just got to see if we get more of a bearish pressure. Obviously, we get that big move over here. Price kind of making lower lows or lower highs over here. right? Price reacting multiple times, coming down. Yeah, right in here. So you see these, you get the bearish pressure. We just need price to maybe break over here. This might be high risk, high reward sells if price breaks this support over here. But this might be a little bit better of a range for you to take right back down to 150, 500. And again, if we break resistance over here, you get a clean move coming up into this area. I would say right over here. Right, at least to this resistance. I think we get that break and retest, we could be heading up, and that's something that you guys could get during London. So let's move over to gold over here and let's see what we had. All right, I'm not sure why it's not for some reason it's not, it erased everything that I had on here. That's okay. We can redraw our zones over here. Some higher lows or lower highs over here, that corrective phase from the COVID recovery and the vaccines coming out. And now we're kind of respecting this. Since about 2019, we've been making higher highs, higher lows, coming all the way up here, making historical highs. And then we've been in that corrective phase with the recovery. Then we had the inflation fears, also geopolitical issues, and then we had positive NFP coming out over here. Now we're kind of consolidating over here after the Afghanistan mess and also inflation fears and also the Jackson Symposium. You got Powell over here saying that he doesn't want to taper yet. You got the rest of the president saying that we're going to need to taper a little bit sooner. But again, the Fed is in a very sticky spot. So if they do all this too soon, you're going to see a big crash in the market. You're going to see a big crash in the housing market. You're going to see a big crash in just about everything. If they do increase interest rates or they start tapering much sooner than they should be. But over here, you got that resistance when it comes to the technicals. You have 1760 as a very significant area right over here. But you had this move right over here in the weekly last week where price ended up reacting to these wicks over here and printing a very strong bearish candle. This candle ended up passing the low and it has this top wick over here and it is bullish on the weekly. But we got to see what we're getting. We are in this range over here. This is a critical level right over here. You have this consolidation. Price grabbed liquidity, ended up printing bullish and closing bullish. This current daily candle right over here, what is it going to do? Is it kind of retesting this area over here to then continue right back up? We shall see. But we had a very critical move over here from that. Let's take a look over here from the data that came out today with the Empire State Manufacturing Index came out much better than expected, and that's what sent gold on its way down this morning over here. We grabbed liquidity and ended up continuing right back down. But we have resistance right over here we need to be aware of. And actually extend that over to these wicks over here. Let's see what we got on the 1 hour. All right, the 1 hour price is kind of in this consolidation over here, lower lows, lower highs. Then we got that data that came out over here where we created that wick, grabbed liquidity, flip bearish, and then continue right back down. But we have looks like a support right over here. And we got a current resistance right over here. So we need price to break out of that area. You got a clean move to the left, cleaner move over here to the left as well. If we do break the resistance, looking at the 30-minute, we can adjust this. We need price to break out of this area right here. Remember, most recent support and resistance, you do want to be smart. We do have about 33 pips, 34 pips in this area. If you want to take this, if you get a nice clean close above that area, but you don't want to trade in this. Just be aware of this. You got big wicks over here, price printing sideways. We're grabbing orders to either continue up or continue right back down. And we're going to be consolidating probably in this until New York tomorrow, where we do get the Philly manufacturing, get core retail sales, and unemployment coming out. So I see us consolidating in here for a little bit until price breaks out of that area. All right. So, guys, have a great session. I will see you tomorrow bright and early for the New York session. I'm looking forward to catching some pips with you and have a great night. All right. Good luck to you guys in Asian and London tonight. And if you guys are taking any trades, send them in the chat as always. And I will see you bright and early tomorrow. Have a great night.